Welcome to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. We are the largest grassroots advocacy network for people with mental illness and their family members, with over 800 national affiliates and 13 Kansas affiliates, with NAMI Wichita being one of those 13. That's a correction, David, isn't it?
Yes.
We provide awareness, support, education, and advocacy for people affected by mental illness. Our purpose here is to provide a community conversation on KSUN Radio that gives insight into what it's like to live with mental illness. Our insight and our hope is that our program will change attitudes, assumptions, and stereotypes about people with mental health conditions. And in so doing, we will stop the stigma associated with mental illness. My name is David Larson. I am very pleased and proud to be your host today, and I am a person living with mental illness. I am in recovery from major depressive disorder. Like everyone, I struggle with the ups and downs of emotions and the challenges of being fully human, but I am doing great, and I know I have many gifts to offer my family, my friends, and my community. Now, before I get too far into the program, I want to introduce David Peterson, our executive producer. Hello, David.
Hello, David.
And our technical producer, Mike Padilla. Hello, Mike.
Hello, and I'm being assisted by...
You're being assisted by Matthew. Hello,
That's right.
Matthew.
Greetings.
Can we hear that again?
Greetings.
Sounds good. We didn't have you turned up there.
Good.
So, thank you all for being here and for sharing with me. And our guest today, we're going to throw a ringer in the mix or something, because David Peterson and I went to the NAMI conference in Seattle, Washington. We are going to talk about our conference experience, because it was, to coin a phrase that I heard the last night, it was phenomenal.
Phenomenal, with the emphasis on NAMI.
Yes, phenomenal.
Phenomenal. Okay.
Very well worth our time.
It was excellent.
And I'm going to start out by saying,
You go right ahead.
one of the presenters and one of the workshops that I went to was a lady, and she said, as she introduced herself, I am the proud mother of a son with mental illness. And she says, I say that because I am so proud of him. I am not shameful of him. And this is something that just resonated through me, that those with a mental illness are people just like you and me.
Yes. And that leads back to the first thing that I mentioned in my little talk through that I have at the beginning, that our aim is to reduce stigma. And one of the best ways that we reduce stigma is by talking about it.
Yes.
It's not by hiding it under a bushel or keeping it hidden, but it's by talking about it. So our opening plenary, and I looked up plenary before, and I can't remember what it means now, but it's like the standard or something.
To me, it's the opening session.
Yeah, our opening session on Thursday was with Dr. Eleanor McCants-Katz. Try saying that 3 times fast. Eleanor.
McCants.
Exactly.
You're right. It's difficult. You're right.
It is. But she is the leader at SAMHSA. SAMHSA, by the way, is spelled SAMHSA.
Now, can you tell us what it stands for?
Yes, I can. It stands for Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Association.
Oh, wow.
And part of that...
Where are they located? Do you know?
In Washington, D.C.,
Ah.
I believe. And in fact, they're
a government agency.
Yes.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Their website is www.samhsa.gov.
Excellent.
So, a lot of people, we've shared this before on the program, but I want to share it again, and that is that our mental illness and drug addiction or substance abuse go hand in hand oftentimes. And so to it makes sense that it's joined together in a government service.
So what you're saying is my pusher is crazy?
Exactly. Yes.
I was just trying to make light of a pretty serious situation.
That's fine.
Okay.
Well, she noted that we tend to see substance abuse services and as being separate from mental health services, and that she is trying to change that mentality.
But they're actually one and the same.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
They walk hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
So it just makes sense. Wow, I can't believe I've talked so much already.
You do such a good job at it, though.
I do. You know,
We're still trying to get that contract arranged for you, so you get like a dime for every time you say a word. You'd
That
be
would
a
be
rich
great.
man.
You bet.
All right. So take us to break, would you?
All right, I will. This is Our Own Voice on KSUN Community Radio, and we are going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. Welcome back to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is a national alliance on mental illness. Our Own Voice is intended to humanize a misunderstood, highly stigmatized topic of mental illness by showing that it's possible and common to live well with a mental health condition. Now, David, before the break, we were talking about SAMHSA and Dr. Eleanor McCants-Katz. And what did you get out of that first plenary session, that opening session on Thursday?
I got a kind of a theme that was going throughout the whole conference, and that not only the Dr. McCants-Katz, but also from our executive director, Angela. I can't think of her last name, but anyway, it was that someone with a heart condition, someone with diabetes, someone with a broken arm, they get medical attention. And so often, the people that have mental illness and or substance abuse problems combined, they do not get the treatment that is needed.
That's very true.
And the thing that I found encouraging was that obviously we're bringing this to light, and a top official in the administration is bringing this to light.
Yeah. Yeah, and she was really pushing the idea of peers being a support system,
Right.
and peers being certified counselors, which is possible. Something else I want to note in one of my workshops that I went to, it was called The Power of Employment. And it said the number of people with a mental illness who are unemployed is 80%.
Wow.
And the number of people with a serious mental illness who want to work is 67%. So that...
Do they have any statistics on how well a person does if they have issues and they have a job? Does it make them a lot better?
Yes, it does.
That's what I thought.
The job gives people a feeling of worth and value and purpose. And those things actually help build the person's self-esteem, which doesn't allow the mental illness to pull it down. So,
and that's actually interesting, because when you're doing something, when you're being productive, it doesn't really give you time to think about what's going on in your head, like the issues that people with mental illness have, because you're so focused on the task at hand.
Exactly.
And not only are you being productive, but you're building your self-esteem. So then I can see how like working would make your mental illness, like it would kind of help it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And plus, most people who have work of some kind, of any kind, they're usually involved with being around other people. And it's been shown that being around other people actually helps building serotonin in the brain. So, and that's one of the feel-good chemicals that you need inside your brain.
And that's why I try to get as many people from Breakthrough on here is because they are not alone. They're a place, it's a place that you can go, you can hang out, you can be productive there and accomplish things that maybe you didn't know you could do.
Yeah, they are amazing, and they're oftentimes rising so well above their mental illness. It's tremendous.
Yes.
So, I want to jump now. What workshop did you have on Thursday? Do you remember?
I don't remember my days that well.
Okay.
I have one I want to speak about in the next segment.
Okay.
It's very important to
All
me.
right. Well, really fast, I'm going to point out the Friday session, general session, was by Diana Chow. And she started, she's actually a teen. She's now 19 years old. In fact, the information I have here is she's a 19-year-old Chinese-American immigrant. She grew up in California and currently studies physics at Princeton University.
Wow.
Did you happen to have her letter with you?
No, I don't.
Oh, I wish I would have copied that.
But she opened the session by sharing what she called a letter to a stranger. And it said, "Dear stranger," and she talks about her mental illness. And she found healing in that process, so much so that she actually has founded an organization called Dear Stranger, Letters for Healing.
Wow.
And in fact, her website is, if you're interested, is www.letterstostrangers.org.
So letterstostrangers.org.
Yeah, all smashed together. Letters to Strangers.
She was
All
very
lowercase.
dynamic.
Yes.
Really?
She was maybe 5 foot tall, but she was dynamic.
She
Wow.
was. And if you want to hear her talk, because I think she does that talk, she did a TED Talk on
Oh,
it.
really?
Yeah, for TED for Teens.
So what
You
was her
can-
name again?
Diana Chow, spelled Chao.
Oh, okay.
Right? And she's on YouTube. So, well...
So you can oogly Google that, right?
That's right.
Okay.
So this is Our Own Voice on KSUN Community Radio. We are talking about our conference that we went to, and we will be right back after this quick break. My heart is a cathedral, strong, resilient, ever-living. My heart is a cocoon, warm, embracing, changing. My heart is a library, literary, verbose, ink-stained. My heart is a tall drink, refreshing, sweet, sour, yearning, knowing. My heart is. And that was a poem that I wrote, and I want to welcome everyone back to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness.
That was a great poem.
Thank you.
What inspired you to write that?
Well, we were given the words, "My heart is." And I went to a workshop called Writing from the Heart, using poetry as a healing response to mental illness. And so I was feeling really good that day, and so
That's what came out.
That's what came out. Yeah, and it was really refreshing.
So
to
what
do.
was the line you were given?
My heart is.
My heart is shaped like a heart.
Very good.
Short but sweet.
Yeah, pretty direct too.
True.
Well, so the workshop was led by Richard Gold, who has started Pongo Teen Writing Project.
Really?
And I looked for a web page for them, and I couldn't find one, but I know it's out there.
I see.
So Richard Gold, look for Pongo, Pongo.
Do they,
Teen Writing Project.
namely, they would be very efficient at helping teenagers with issues or whatever?
Yes, they usually go into either teen correctional facilities or teen hospitals and help the youth just work through whatever issues they have by writing poetry, and they lead them through a step-by-step process of writing poetry, and it's more of just ongoing flow of words. So
Well, it's important. One of the things that I have learned doing this show is that if you have an issue, you want to deal with the issue before it becomes an illness.
exactly. Yes. So David, you told me during the break that there was something that you wanted to lead into.
Well, yes, but first I want to comment on that workshop that you went to. That was a fantastic healing type of workshop, and that was a great thing about the conference or convention, whatever we want to call it, was that there was opportunities to go to something that each one of us was wanting to know more about.
Yes.
And I mean, that I don't know if that would have been my alley, but I appreciate what you got from it. And that's,
Yes. Well, and that is a key point. One reason why we had three of us going,
Right.
and us three sort of split up and did our own separate thing in different ways.
and that's why as the president of NAMI Wichita, I wanted to get involved in what new programs they have. And one of the programs that they're just launching, and it's been tested throughout many states, is Family and Friends. And this is a program similar in content to our Family to Family class, but this is just a presentation. And this is something I hope that we can get going here in Wichita. It's can be a 90-minute presentation, and it can lead people into the Family to Family class. But it's a presentation much like in our own voice that our peers do, where they share their stories. But this particular Family and Friends presentation would be a person like myself sharing my story of my son's mental illness. And it's I think it's going to be very powerful because it's something that we can do in a 90-minute segment with maybe in a Kiwanis group or whatever group would like to listen and find out more about NAMI. And this will get our story out and also be able to give some publicity to our local organization and the programs and support groups we offer.
Yes.
And that is our key role here. And all of our programs, all of our support groups are free of charge.
Yes.
We do offer memberships where they can get the Advocacy magazine and keep up on what's going on. But if you call 316-686-1373 or 316-686-1373, you'll be able to find out more information about NAMI Wichita and the classes and the programs that we offer, not only for those with a mental illness, but family members who have someone with a mental illness.
But
Yes.
what you're basically talking about is just talking about it as much as anything, right?
That is correct.
Okay, and that's very, very helpful, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yes, just like I'm talking to you right now.
Yes.
Well, so I need to cut in here and say this is Our Own Voice on KSUN Community Radio, and we will be right back after this quick break. Welcome back to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So, David, we talked during the break as to what we wanted to sort of wind down with. And after the Friday session, general session, where we got to hear Diana Chow with her Letters to Strangers, they unrolled or rolled out a new campaign that they're going to be starting in 2020.
Inside Out.
Inside Out, thinking inside out.
Yes.
And the idea is you're thinking outside the box. You're changing things up. And it was so funny. I didn't realize until the person I was sitting next to nudged me, and she said, "I think one of those presenters has their pants inside out," and they did.
They did.
they had put their pants on inside out.
Just a way to help us realize that there is a
Kind of
different way to think.
To demonstrate a different way of thinking.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Because we all know that most people put their pants on like they put their pants on, right?
One leg at a time.
One leg at a time, exactly.
We
But
hope
in this
it's one leg
case,
at a time. This way, it was inside out.
Right.
And so, tell us in your own words what thinking inside out means.
Well, I think it just means bringing more awareness to the general public about what is going on in mental health, and realizing that if we change the way we think, maybe we can reduce that stigma that's so prevalent out there.
Exactly. So, and we have there was an ad campaign that was leading the force on this, and they are volunteering mountains of hours. I don't know how many hours to do this, but their head CEO, I think it was, she shared that that she had experienced a life-changing experience when one of her siblings had succumbed to suicide.
Yes.
And so because of that, this sort of became her call to talk about this and to share and to change people's minds. So it was wonderful.
It was a powerful conference.
Yes, very powerful.
I got to meet with the program director of Ending the Silence, which is a program that we're trying to get going here, where we will go to schools and talk in front of youth between 13 and 18 and help them become more aware. And she gave me some great insight on how to get this going even further. And this is something that, again, we want to get going here in Wichita by this fall.
Yes, and that will be at schools, but also it can go to
churches
and
youth camps.
Yes, exactly. I want to share another poem. This one is not by me. It says it's by a young man, 13 years old, in the state psychiatric hospital, and it's titled "Love." The hardest thing for me to feel is love. To me, love can be a stab in my back. To me, love can be twisted. To me, love can be something I don't understand. To me, love can be someone I love. To me, love can be confusing and painful. To me, love can show forgiveness, which is hard to express. To me, love feels like you're soaring, and you'll never let go, but don't look down.
Wow.
That's very powerful.
That is very powerful. And it
that
came
was
from a
13?
13-year-old.
Yes.
Yes. So, and again, that comes from the writing from the heart, using poetry as a healing response to mental illness. So, wonderful workshops. I'm going to really try to go next year to the one that's going to be in Atlanta.
And so there were people there from all around the country.
Yes, there were.
Did you meet people from other parts of the country that are memorable?
Oh,
yes.
Like who?
I will give a shout out to Lucy. Can't remember your last name, Lucy, but
That's
you
probably
are
good.
Wonderful. and I got your email address and sent you an email this morning to say how wonderful it was meeting you. So
And I remember Lori very vividly, and she helped give me some insight on the Ending the Silence program.
What part of the country was she from?
Arizona.
Arizona.
South of Tucson.
South of Tucson.
Wow.
That's right.
And her affiliate covered 3 or 4 states that
Three
border the Mexico.
or 4 counties.
Yeah, 3 or 4 counties, excuse me, that bordered Mexico.
Wow, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And so what was the one that you met? Where was she
Lucy.
from? Lucy?
She is from North Carolina.
Wow. Came
And-
all the way across the country.
Yes, And she is a peer like me, and so several of us peers got together, and we went out to eat late one night.
Really?
And had a great time. just got to talk and share about our own experience
So
and everything.
that was the late night peer lunch or dinner or whatever.
Yeah, I guess so.
I see.
That's when I went to Tap House Grill.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So, I get to say again, as I always do at this time, thank you for joining us for Our Own Voice on KSUN Community Radio. Thank you, David, for sharing with us about your experience with the conference.
You're welcome.
And we are join us for our next Our Own Voice program.